What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis. I'm ready for the draft. But until then, I want to talk about a big name free agent that's one of the top 10 players available, one of the younger prospects, one of the prospects that's still development, has potential to be a star because of his athleticism, because of his improved shooting and shot making abilities. He can rebound the ball, he can play the three, he can play the four, he can handle the ball at his position. And at this point, he's going to be one of those positionless players, especially if he can develop some good defense to go along with his athleticism, which he really hasn't been able to do. But you never know because you can't count him out. If you have those type of tools and you really want it, you can be the best player you want to be, but you have to be able to put in the work and you have to want to continue to get better. And one thing about Aaron Gordon is definitely that every season he's been in the league, he has improved from 5 points to 9 points to 12 points and getting 28 minutes to being 32 minutes with 17 points a game. His shooting has improved, but he got a little injury prone in his last year, but his numbers was up across the board, averaging a steal a game, which is a career high, averaging 2.3 assists, which is a career high, averaging 7.9 rebounds is a career high. Shooting in 33% from three was a career high, even though his field goal percentage plummeted. Um, that should usually happen for somebody that got an increased workload because they're not used to getting double teamed, they're not used to getting trapped, and he had to adapt as a guy that now you're game planning against. Because at the end of the day, when you go against the Magic, you really wasn't game planning for Aaron Gordon because he was really a bench player and a role player. He didn't really have a significant impact on the outcome of the game, and now that's definitely different. As now they've been transitioning. They traded Alfred Payton. They traded Victor Oladipo. They traded Tobias Harris. They transitioned into a new era of players again. And Aaron Gordon looks like a big part of their future. But like I said in the video before, they have a Jonathan Isaac um, already on the roster. They have a Mario Hazonia that's a free agent next year, and they got to figure out what they're going to do with him if he doesn't work out. So it's definitely going to be tough to try to keep these players as talented and they can play multiple positions while also being able to shoot the ball and stretch out the floor. But you only can keep one of these players realistically because you're going to have to pay people that money. They're going to have to pay people that max. And Aaron Gordon is a restricted free agent this year, and he's a guy that might be worth a max. Maybe not to Orlando, but I can definitely see him potentially getting a max offer from another team. And if they did it, I wouldn't be surprised because the guy has showed superstar potential. Um, Actually, Mario Hazonia is a free agent this year. He's unrestricted, so they not even gonna have the ability to match. So it might be even tough to keep Mario Hazonia anyway because if he wasn't able to reach a deal with him, then somebody can just sign him to the contract that they want, and then he's gonna go and do his own thing. So that's a tough pill to swallow. You get a top five pick in Mario Hazonia, then you lose him for basically nothing, or you have to overpay to keep him because there's going to be a lot of suitors with a guy like that potential. And that's what I'm saying about Aaron Gordon. He's a guy that's proven that he can take over games. He shows signs of rebounding the ball, becoming a playmaker, becoming an all-around superstar, a guy that can rebound, shoot, pass, handle the ball, create for others, playing the pick and roll. That's the ideal situation for a guy like this, especially if he plays the three. That's what the modern day threes is doing. You look at Kawhi Leonard, you look at Kevin Durant, you look at Paul George, they have the ability to handle the ball at that position and create their own shot, but also create shots for other people while still trying to score the basketball, even though some of them are the most efficient scorers in the league. And obviously, Paul George and Aaron Gordon are not. Aaron Gordon is one of those players that you definitely won't because the NBA is going into that mode where you have to have the wings not only to guard each other but to have them to take advantage. They want them athletic forwards, and Aaron Gordon fits that bill. That's why he's going to be a high commodity, and that's the same thing I'm saying about Mario Hazonia. If Mario Hazonia gets into the right situation, and gets utilized the right way, he can be very good for another team, especially that looking for that wing position. And you can just offer him whatever you want to because he's unrestricted. So it's going to be tough for you to rebuild when you give up on Alfred Payton and Victor Oladipo becomes an all-star. And you've been rebuilding since 2010, 2011, and you haven't even been close to making the playoffs. You haven't even been close to winning 40 games in the season. Plus, you keep getting all these lottery picks, including Hazonia, including Isaac, including Aaron Gordon, including Alfred Payton, and you still haven't been able to develop even one star. And the guy that you see the most potential of being a star is Aaron Gordon. And the fact that he might get a max offer for somebody else because they wasn't able to agree to terms during the regular season, it just like, damn, we want to get him we want to get a good deal from him, but we also don't want to overpay and be stuck with a guy that potentially might not even be a star, even though he's showing signs of it. Because remember, let's be real, Aaron Gordon is on a bad team. Aaron Gordon is on a team where he gets a lot of shot attempts because they don't have as much talent and they need somebody to take those shots. He averaged 15 shots a game basically last year on the Orlando Magic, and your numbers are going to be inflated because you're getting a lot more shot attempts and you're getting a lot of chances to put up empty numbers because his numbers wasn't leading to wins and his numbers wasn't leading to success. And you don't really know how good this player is as a guy watching as a fan and watching as an analyst. I'm studying his game. I'm watching how he play. I'm watching the excitement that he brings. He can put on a show. He can get the crowd going with threes and dunks. And he does play with a lot of more effort and energy. He has a higher motor than a couple years ago. You see him trying to crash the board. You see him trying to get to the paint. You see him trying to put on a show. And that's definitely going to be good, especially if they start winning. You have a guy that people want to get behind. You have a guy that people want to see play. And he does fit that bill. So he has some superstar potential. He has the ability to become a star in the future, but at the same time, he might not ever hit that superstar. He might not ever become a superstar, even if he stays in Orlando. Like I say, some of these players, they just don't have the coach. They just don't have the fit. And some of these players, they just need a different direction. They need some need to fail, some need a reason to work harder, some need a reason to come back stronger. And in Orlando, you don't really have any real motivation because you've been losing for so many years. And even if they do, try to draft well with that pick, and Trae Young is the pick, that's another player that's got to come in and develop for years. He's not NBA ready right now. He might put up some numbers. He might get a lot of shots because he is on a bad team. But that's going to be a player that you're going to have to develop. And that's one thing that Orlando haven't been able to do is get and develop talent. Like I said, they got rid of so many top 5, top 10 picks, and they're still stuck in the same boat and haven't even came close to making the playoffs. So it shows you how hard it is to win in the league when you have so many great players and you have a lot of teams that's having stars team up, and they go from being an okay team to a playoff team to a contender, and you have not one all-star, you have not one superstar on your roster, and the player that you feel has the most potential is going to warrant a max offer, and he might not even be a superstar, and he might just be putting up good numbers on a bad team. So it's kind of blinding. It's kind of misleading. But at the same time, if you're Orlando, do you want to pay him that max and commit a lot of money to him, or do you want to get a sure superstar, or do you want to continue to lose and try to get one through the draft? I think they got to figure something out. I think they need an identity. I think they need to figure out what they're trying to accomplish. I think they need to figure out who do they want to build around. Do they want to build around centers? Do they want to build around the forwards? Do they want to get a backcourt? I don't feel like they're actually doing anything significant when it comes to trying to get this team in the right direction. I feel like they're trying to find pieces, but they're not finding anything really to get an identity so that way they can have a direction. And to me, if I'm a coach or if I'm a GM, I want to be on the same page with the owner because I might get fired for doing my job, but I might not show right away. So if I'm drafting Trae Young not gonna be ready day one. He might be ready 3 years later, and I might get fired in that process because we're losing, and the draft picks these last couple years haven't been panning out, which hurts my job. But the owner might want this player, or the coach and the owner might want this player, but it might not be the player that we really need to build around. And I feel like Aaron Gordon was a guy that we all felt had the potential, a limited potential. He was a guy that we felt like in that draft that he had, the sky was the ceiling basically. And he's showing that right now with the passing, the shooting, and the ability to handle the ball. That he can be a modern day power forward or a modern day stretch forward, or he can be a modern day small forward with that 6'9" long, lanky ability and athleticism. So it's gonna be tough because you don't want to max out a player that's not gonna be a potential superstar. I mean, you don't want to max out on a guy that's not a superstar, but you also want to have some talent on your roster, and you also want to have him locked up because you rather have him than lose him for nothing, and that's what's gonna happen with Mario Hezonja most likely. And it's gonna be hard that you got to commit all that money to Aaron Gordon, and you don't have no other pieces to go around him, and you stuck in a situation where now you have that one max guy that might potentially still not be a superstar, but you committed a lot of money to him, and then you get kind of like, what's the other pieces that we can add around Aaron Gordon to become a playoff or potentially a championship contender? Um, and I don't really see that guy out there for Orlando right now. So building through the draft don't look as bad in that case, but that's still years of development that you have to continue to go through, and you might be at 10 years without making the playoffs. So that doesn't look that good either. Plus, you have to trade to get a superstar, but they don't have the assets really to really make a push for a superstar to come here. Besides, if they continue to be a lottery team and they can trade their top 5, top 10 pick, but they haven't really did that over the last couple of years. But that is another opportunity in another direction they can go towards, is trying to package things together to get that superstar that allows them to get others. So they have some things they got to work out. They have to figure out what they're trying to do. They have to figure out what direction they want to go in. Do they have to figure out what's the plan with this Orlando team? And I feel like that's something that they didn't have. So if I'm a coach or if I'm a GM, I definitely want to know before I sign that contract, what are we trying to accomplish? What team are we trying to build? Because right now they just taking anybody, just like the Sixers, and they was able to get Ben Simmons, but he was a number one pick. They was able to get Embiid, and they both end up missing years. So 5, 6 years later, they finally made the playoffs, and Orlando don't even have one player of that caliber in the last 5 years. So that just goes to show you that everybody way ain't the same way. And honestly and truthfully, we're gonna have to wait a couple more years to see what Orlando gonna do. But identity should be the first thing, and direction should be the second thing. And once they figure those things out, maybe it'd be a little bit easier um, going forward. So let me know what you think about Orlando Magic. Let me know what you guys think about Aaron Gordon. Is he a max player? Is he really a role player? Is he a guy putting up empty stats on a bad team with a lot of shots, and he looks better than he really is? Because I feel like he potentially still is a role player. Some people feel like, oh, he's doing this. He's hitting game winners. He's taking over games. He went for 30. He went for 40. But I'm kind of at the same time thinking like, well, if you own Orlando and you really don't have any other options to shoot, somebody has to take those shots, and he was one of the people that was able to do it. His field goal percentage ain't the highest, his 3-point percentage ain't the highest, his free throw percentage ain't the highest, but he also still showing untapped potential. So it's gonna be hard not to be even tempted to offer him the max. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description and comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description and comment section below. Like on Facebook to show support. Quinn Wade, Basketball Analysis, I'm gone. And let me know what you guys think the Orlando Magic should do to get on the right track.